You have watched the YouTube videos, read the book, attended the seminars, followed the coaching programs, but there is still a huge gap between what you know and what you actually do. Because learning more doesn't create results, execution does. In this video, I will show you how I turned complex theory into execution tools. So powerful, it honestly feels like cheating. I shared it over a month ago, and curiously, Danko posted about it just a few days later. So I made this video to give you the blueprint. This concept is what I call knowledge executables, and they have let me work at a speed and quality I didn't think was even possible. That's why once you see how they work, chances are you will never go back. Imagine that every single thing you are learning today becomes something you can use at the touch of a button. Okay, so imagine, for example, all of the books you read about business, about your life in general, about marketing, about storytelling, about every single thing you want in your professional and let's say also your personal life isn't something which is theoretical that you have in your mind, that you understood, that you comprehend, but it becomes something you can use instantly and action instantly and implement instantly in your life and in your business. This is all the purpose of knowledge executables. So what it is, to stay academic and stay very straightforward, a knowledge executable is an actionable resource that converts theoretical knowledge into practical application. Okay, so actually most people, most professionals overlearn and under-apply. There is a huge gap between what you learn, what you consume, the quantity of knowledge and educational content you consume and you heard of and you learn about and you invested in, and what you actually implement in your business. This huge gap can be fixed with knowledge executables. If you are someone who spends time and money learning seminars, books, podcasts, coaching, courses, but deep down you know you are not applying even a half of it, you are not alone. The problem isn't your time or motivation. It's the lack of a simple system to help you process and apply what you learn. That's what I help entrepreneurs and high-performing professionals build. A practical workflow to turn knowledge into results consistently. If that speaks to you, there is a link down below. And if it's a good fit, we will work together to install the system and help you get 10x more out of everything you learn. Why does it matter and why it is like cheating? So I've put it here just 4 benefits, but there are a lot more benefits, but actually let's just focus on these ones, which are for me the most powerful and relevant ones. The first thing is that you are going to keep maximum quality in every single work you are going to do. Okay, whatever your business is, whatever your profession is, actually, you will surely agree that the quality of the work you are doing is not something which is consistent and which is fixed. Because when you work relying only on your head and only on yourself and your emotional state, the quality of your work is something which is going to change in time. Okay, sometimes you are going to do something which is lower quality, sometimes you're going to do something higher quality, etc. But with knowledge executables, you are going to stay at the maximum quality in every single work, every single task you are doing in your business. So this is the first thing, the first benefit. The second benefit is that you are going to make and do the tasks you need to do very, very fast. Because as you are going to see now, every single thing you are doing, because you are a knowledge worker, every single thing you are doing is based on knowledge. Okay, and so when you are doing a task, you are processing all of this knowledge in your head. Okay, and this takes time to create an output, which is the work you are actually doing. But if it's not your head which is processing this knowledge to create this output, but let's say something which is much more powerful in terms of speed than your head, then you will be able to do the same tasks at the same level of quality in a record time. The third benefit is that because of knowledge executables, as you will see when you are going to use them, you are going to be able to stay in the flow. And this is a problem I encountered a lot in the past, is that when I had something to do in my business, so let's say, for example, I have to write a VSL, okay? I block 2 hours, 4 hours, let's say 8 hours, all of this day is blocked to write my VSL script for my next offer, let's say. So I start my day, I open maybe my my editor, okay, my writing editor, and it's a blank page. Okay, so I say to myself, maybe I need a structure, maybe I need to learn a bit more about how to create a great VSL, how to write a great VSL. And I'm going to open YouTube. I'm going to search for how to write a VSL. I'm going to watch a video, have some suggestions, watch another one, etc., etc. And starting to gather some information and some knowledge on how to create a great VSL. Okay? And this is what I call the learning loops. I was supposed to write the VSL, but now what I'm doing is that I am learning how to write a VSL. But now the problem is that I'm mixing between execution and learning. And this is completely ruining my flow, my deep work state. Why? Because from the moment I open a new content or I open a loop in the internet to do something or to search something, I'm going out from the focus and the flow bubble I was in. And then what happens is that I'm going to stay, let's say, hours on YouTube just learning how to write this VSL. At the beginning, I was supposed to finish this VSL in few hours, but I found myself learning for a few hours and not producing, not executing, not creating actually what I was supposed to create. Okay. And at the end of the day, maybe I have a lot of knowledge on how to create a VSL, but I still don't have my VSL script. Okay. But with knowledge executables, we are going to clearly separate between execution and learning. You have a time for learning and you have a time for executing what you learned. Okay, so we're going to see how to use it later. And the fourth benefit is that knowledge executables enables you to compound on your knowledge. Okay, so this is just a screenshot from one of my previous videos. I'm going to put the link right here if you want to watch it. But definitely here is this idea I talk about, is that the old way to learn was to just learn about something. So let's say you learn about marketing, you learn about sales, you learn about recruiting, etc. And then because you are relying only on your notes or only on your retention, as the time goes, you are going to forget these things. And you are going to learn something else, another skill. Maybe 6 months later, you are going to learn now about storytelling. And because of you are relying on only your notes and only your retention, you forget your first skill. And so you have a new skill, which is your latest skill you learned about, but you forget about the other ones because of the forgetting curves, okay? Which is something scientifically proven, right? So you forget about the first one. You learn a new skill, but you forget about the other one. And if you want to, let's say 6 months later, right here, maybe, for example, create now a marketing strategy you learned about how to do it 6 months later, you are not able to do it. You have to come back to this knowledge, relearn, learn again to be able to do it again, okay? Because you forget about it, right? And so as the time goes, you are not compounding on your knowledge. You just have the latest skill you learned about, which is available. But the other ones, the older ones, are not available. But with knowledge executables, we are going to see today, you will be able to compound on your knowledge. When you will learn something, it will stay. It will keep here in your environment, and you will be able to use it every single time you want. Even 4 years, 10 years from now, it will be the same quality of knowledge, and you will not have to come back and to relearn the thing. And you will be able to execute it as if you just learned about it right now, as if it's very fresh in your head, as if you just finished the course about it, just finished attending a seminar about it, just finished reading a book about it. Same thing, same level of quality. Okay, and so because of this, you are compounding on your knowledge. Every single skill you add to your skill set is a new one, and it doesn't annihilate the previous skill you had. Okay, because you don't have to retain and to memorize anymore because of knowledge executables. And so you are compounding on your knowledge, right? So let's see how it is actually. You have two types of knowledge executables, right? So the first type, let's do it like this. The first type is micro executables, okay? This is for specific sub-skills that require minimal knowledge, okay? So for example, scripting a VSL. This is a sub-skill. This is not about, you are not going to learn about scripting a VSL for months, okay? This is something very focused, very straightforward. This is a sub-skill, okay? Same thing, for example, how to write a viral LinkedIn post, okay? This is something you are not gonna read a book about it, okay? This is something very narrow and something very focused, right? So for this kind of task and this kind of knowledge and sub-skills, we are going to use what I call micro knowledge executables, right? And you have macro executables, and as you already understood, this is for complex skills, not for sub-skills, but for complex skills that require extensive knowledge and a comprehensive understanding of various concepts. Okay, so for example, let's say you learned about YouTube. Okay, I'm going to learn about YouTube. YouTube is something huge to learn about. You are going to learn about, you are not going to be a great YouTube strategist in, let's say, 8 hours. But in 8 hours, you can definitely be a great VSL writer. Okay, you understand? This is a difference. Okay, YouTube marketing. Okay, marketing, this is a huge skill, a complex skill. Okay, decision making, this is a huge skill, a complex skill. Okay, so these ones, we are going to create macro executables. Okay, so you have micro executables and macro executables, right? And now to be very concrete on how to use them and how to create them, here is the blueprint, okay? So for micro executables, we are going to create them from content, okay? So for example, from YouTube videos, which is the most, which will be our mainstream path to create micro executables. And this is the most straightforward path, okay? So let's take the example of writing a YouTube VSL. Okay, script, let's say I'm gonna type a high converting a VSL, simply. A high converting VSL. Okay, let's search a bit about it. Let's take, let's take only one for now. You can actually combine between different videos, but for now, let's take only one, which is the most straightforward path. Okay, let's take this one. Let's take this one, yeah. You are going to just open it as you have already done it, show transcript, you take the transcript, you copy this, and then you open an AI chat, for example, here on ChatGPT. Here is how to script a high converting VSL, put everything here, and you are done, okay? Then you are going to have some tips to improve the result and the output it can give you. So for example, what I love to do is to start by saying, ask me all of the questions you need to know to write my VSL. So you ask him to ask you about the information it needs, okay? And then when it's done, you just give him the informations and it will give you the output, your VSL script, okay? What is the knowledge executable here? The knowledge executable is just this, okay? You can improve it, of course, but this is the first prompt I made. Here is how to, this is a basic version of a knowledge executable, the version 0, let's say the level 0. Here is how to, your sub-skill, your task, the content, and then this is your knowledge executable. But now, to be very productive, you have to find a place in which you are going to store all of these things, okay, and all of your knowledge executables. So for me, for example, I have what I use, which is what I call implementation forge here. And I have all of my knowledge executables. All right, so this is a template, so I don't have a lot of them here, but here is how I store them. Okay, so you just open, you just add a new one, you store it here, and every single time right now you have to write a VSL, you go back to this thing, you take your knowledge executable and you execute it, and you have your VSL. Okay, and so instead of spending hours writing your VSL, you just spend at the first time, let's say 40 minutes to search about it, to learn a bit about it, to create your knowledge executables. But this time you invested will be gained, let's say 10 times more in the future. Okay, and now I'm able to write a VSL in 40 minutes instead of 7 or 8 hours in the past. Okay, so this is the power of micro knowledge executables. Okay, and you just have to base your knowledge executable on high quality content you find. Okay, let's say for example YouTube video, as we've seen here. Okay, and what is maybe much more interesting are macro executables, and these ones are much more complex, and so it needs more work, but the level of quality and the value you are going to get from them will be huge. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a simple example on how to create a macro executable, which is from a big skill right now, which is YouTube. So for example, this is my learning board of YouTube. And so I have what I call a master map. And the master map, to be very simple, is just, let's say, the screenshot of all of my knowledge about YouTube. Okay, all of the things I know about YouTube and I learned about YouTube is here and is structured here. Okay, so this is a master map. Okay, so this is a lot of knowledge, a lot of value. This is hours of work. Okay, but this is a big skill, and so it's normal to invest and to process all of this knowledge, right? From this master map, I'm gonna create a knowledge executable. Okay, and this knowledge executable, for me, I just have to follow this master map. So I start from the center, so the center is here. I just have to just navigate into the master map, and on the same time I create my knowledge executable by typing, for example. So for me, what I've done is just splitting my screen. I had the half of my screen here, so like this. For example, I have the half of my screen with the master map, and the other half here was my GPT I've created based on this master map. And so this GPT is actually the quintessence of all of the things I learned about YouTube. But now what is very powerful is that I never have to go back to my YouTube content, to the things I learned about YouTube. I don't have to come back to this master map to remember stuff. I don't have to come back to, let's say, the courses I followed about YouTube to learn again about it. Why? Because all of the knowledge I learned about YouTube is now condensed into this GPT, and it is executable at the touch of the button. Okay, I just have right now to open this GPT to tell him this is the next video I'm gonna make, and it's gonna give me, okay, thumbnails, titles, the hook, the script, the structure of the script, the ideas I can put into it, etc., until the end of the process. And I know that all of the process it's gonna follow, it's so much valuable, because it's a result of all of the insights I learned about YouTube from high quality content, mentors, and experts. So these are macro executables. Okay, so for now we saw a lot that actually the highest level of a knowledge executables is to use actually AI. Okay, because it is by definition the thing that is the most executable you can do. You just have to use the prompt if it's a prompt, or use the GPT, execute it, and you are done, and you have the output you wanted. Okay, but for other tasks and for more complex tasks, you can create knowledge executables which are not AI prompts or AI GPTs, etc. It can be, for example, SOPs. An SOP is a knowledge executable. Guidelines are knowledge executables. Processes are knowledge executables. All of these things you can include into them some parts with AI, okay? But there are several steps, and because of these different steps, maybe you will need a human, maybe you will need to include some persons into the process, etc. And so it can't be all AI, okay? Just to tell you that knowledge executables have different levels. Maybe I'm gonna tell about it in another video. Just tell me in the comments if this idea is something relevant to you. I hope you are going to use it into the next things you are going to learn about. Just think about this idea that every single thing you learn about right now, think about how can I convert these things and these insights into something I can execute, into something which is easily executable. And when you will think this way, you are going to fix the gap we talk about at the beginning of the video, which is the gap between the huge volume of things you learn about and you know, and the low volume of things you execute and you do. Okay? Fix this gap by just create knowledge executables. And if you want to learn about the 5 principles entrepreneurs and high-performing professionals need to follow to learn in business, let's check this